You're watching NBC 5 News at 10.
Thanks for joining us tonight. As you can see here on the radar, we have some strong and dangerous storms that are moving through our area. We've seen hail, strong winds, some localized flooding, and it's all part of the same system that moved through Oklahoma earlier. This is video right here from one of the large tornadoes that touched down. Let's get right over to our chief meteorologist, Rick Mitchell, for the latest. He begins our live team coverage.
Yeah, Katie, it's an active night. We have thunderstorms with the capability of producing as high as 80-mile-per-hour winds coming into North Texas. One thing that's different, it's not a solid line. You've got a line to our north, and then there's a big break, which is good, and then it picks up again west of Mineral Wells. So this is a little bit better than just a solid squall line ripping across North Texas. But this portion of it is pretty active, okay? It's got the potential for winds 70 to 80 miles per hour. We've got a couple of tornado warnings. One of those is in Grayson County, and the other one is in Fannin County. Now, these are small areas of rotation. One is to the southwest of Whitewright, and that's sliding to the east, southeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. So that's going to take it into Trenton 1006, Leonard 1013, and Bailey at 1017. Now, outside of this circulation, there's still the potential for winds, again, over 70 miles per hour. A second area of rotation is in between Ravenna and Bonham, and that's moving off to the southeast as well. So if you're in the path of these thunderstorms, especially the tornado-warned areas, Grayson and Fannin counties, make sure you're taking your appropriate tornado precautions. Follow these two rules. Get as low as you can. Put as many walls in between you and the outside. You want to protect yourself, okay? Find a closet, a bathroom, or a hallway. Those are going to be the best bets for you, and just kind of hunker down. Now, some of you are hearing your outdoor warning sirens, even though there are no tornado warnings necessarily in your area. That's for the strong winds that are coming out. And I'll tell you the same thing. Make sure that you protect yourself. Get to the center of the structure that you're in. Make sure you're staying away from any west or northwest facing winds. That's the direction that those winds are going to be coming from. And these strong storms are coming into Denton, over through Pilot Point, Gunner, Anna, just north of McKinney. Once you get to the east of Denton, that's where the line really picks up in intensity and then extends on up to the Trenton, Bonham, and just west of Honeygrove up through Telephone. And so these are diving to the south, so they're going to impact a big portion, all really, of Collin County and a big chunk of Denton County. But once you get west of Denton, the line kind of weakens a little bit, and that's pretty good. We want that. But currently, the winds gusting, Texas Women's University gusted over 60 miles per hour. And so those winds are fairly strong, even if the storm doesn't look as strong as other portions of it. But that's going to continue pushing off to the south. Wise County, storms non-severe at this point. That's good. There'll be lightning, thunder, heavy downpours, and you could see some brief flooding. This cell that's coming into Collin County and areas to the east, Honeygrove, 1008, Plano 1014, Wiley 1019, Greenville 1026, Heath 1036, and Quinlan 1040. What you can expect, again, winds gusting over 60 to 70 miles per hour. This is going to be up in Melissa. Live picture. This is north of McKinney. You can see the rain is a lot of lightning. The rain is fairly blinding. Cars are moving slowly along this is 75 up to the north. So again, this is what's coming into the McKinney area, but be prepared for strong winds and stay away from those windows. You know, we got a couple of tornado warnings, but the overall tornado threat, I think, is on the low side. The wind gusts, that's the strongest, that's the greatest threat. And then this batch of thunderstorms into Justin at 1007, Azle 1013, Plano 1019, DFW 1028, Dallas 1042, Mesquite 1045, and Terrell at 1056. Now, just looking at this radar view, I would say the stronger thunderstorms are likely to affect Dallas County as they move southeast, and Hunt County as well, Rockwall County. And the storms that are coming into Tarrant County may be less ferocious. They may just be thunderstorms, run-of-the-mill thunderstorms with some heavy rain. Now, the storms do pick up in intensity farther west. Here's Mineral Wells, and you can see this cluster of thunderstorms capable of winds in excess of 65 miles per hour. Those are moving southeast, so Cisco at 10:07, Ranger 10:11, Mineral Wells 10:18, Gordon 10:20, Rising Star 10:30, and Gorman at 10:33. So a lot of active thunderstorms. You feel the humidity out there. There's a lot of ingredients that can support these storms as they move to the south and southeast. But again, this cluster of severe storms from Denton on to the northeast, that's going to impact areas from Dallas and points east. This area west of Mineral Wells is going to be diving to the southeast. So from Mineral Wells, Stephenville, areas south of Tarrant County. And we're kind of getting a little bit of a break that may help the folks in Tarrant County not to have to experience the really rough weather. This is the bigger view of these thunderstorms. Now, thunderstorms do continue well back to the northwest. So once this initial line moves through, we can still have thunderstorms overnight, but they probably won't be as strong as what we're seeing right now. But there is a severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 4 o'clock in the morning. And when the Storm Prediction Center put this watch out probably an hour ago, they stated thunderstorms within the watch area would have the capability of producing up to or perhaps even exceeding 80 miles per hour. Again, I want to point out not everybody's going to see 80, thankfully. But just in case you're one of those, make sure that you're prepared for these thunderstorms as they moved in. Let's go back over to Denton County. This is in Argyle, and one of our crews is tracking these storms up there. Very heavy rain, frequent lightning coming on through, and the likelihood of some strong wind gusts. Again, the Denton area has already experienced winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. As I pointed out earlier, many of you are hearing your outdoor warning sirens. It doesn't necessarily mean there's a tornado. It just means that there is severe weather moving into your community, and you should take the appropriate precautions to best keep yourself safe from that severe weather. Now, when I come back and when Kevin comes back, we're going to talk about how long this stormy pattern is going to last. And in the meantime, we'll keep an eye on things. But for right now, let's go back over to Katie.
All right, Rick, thank you. So let's get outside now. Time now to check in with our Meredith Yeomans. So Meredith, let us know where you're at right now and what you've seen this evening.
Hey, Katie, we are on U.S. Highway 380 heading east out of the city of Denton. We've heard sirens being activated in Denton for winds upwards of 70 miles per hour. And we're on 380, so this is sort of that northern threshold heading into the DFW area. And we're seeing what this storm has in store. We've started to see the rain dump on top of us, ponding quickly, accumulate on the sides and the edges of the road. Sheets of rain coming down, even sideways, a lot of lightning. We saw a lot of that heading into the DFW area and heading into Denton. People seemingly unaware that this was going on. We came from Buc-ee's and people were setting up lawn chairs outside the convenience store. People just seem to be unaware that this was heading their way. So hopefully everybody is staying safe. I know those sirens did sound, so hopefully they are heeding those warnings.
All right, our thanks to Meredith Yeomans there east of Denton now on 380. Let's show you another look from one of our TxDOT tower cams. Look at this. You see the camera shaking a little bit. You really can't make out the road too much because of the rain. This is Highway 75 at Wilmoth Road and McKinney. You can see those cars, the brake lights slowing down, but just a lot of heavy rain falling right now in that area. We want to check now with our Sophia Beausoleil. She is live in Northwest Dallas. She continues our team coverage for us. So Sophia, what are you seeing?
Katie, there's lightning in the distance. We can hear some rumbles of thunder as the storm approaches northwest to Dallas. Earlier today, I caught up with Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins, who told us what they're doing to prepare for the potential severe weather.
Not great news on the forecast here.
Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins says their Emergency Operations Center activated at 8:30 Sunday evening virtually in anticipation of severe weather with the potential to bring destructive winds.
Which can do a lot of damage, blow chairs around in your backyard, but also can cause limbs to go into power lines. So we expect that to be challenging for Encore.
He says there are extra crews performing routine maintenance in the area.
Those crews are here, and that's going to hopefully help when we see those power outages.
The city of Dallas says its emergency operations center is in a state of increased readiness and ready to handle information and coordinate resources if necessary. In the event of severe weather, people in Dallas might hear one of the 178 outdoor warning systems. According to the city, they are meant to alert anyone outside to head indoors. And while many people may think the sound of the sirens means they're in the immediate path of a tornado, that's not always the case. The city of Dallas says it will activate the outdoor sirens when they get a warning from the National Weather Service regarding winds above 70 miles per hour, hail, or tornado warning anywhere in the city. And earlier today, Texas Governor Greg Abbott also issued an activation when it comes to having more resources in the event of emergency along throughout the week, because there are places across Texas that are anticipating even more severe weather. So we'll be keeping an eye out here all night long as we wait for this storm to reach Dallas, specifically North Dallas where we are. Reporting live from North Dallas, Sophia Beausoleil, NBC 5.
Yeah, it'll be there soon. All right, Sophia, thank you. Let's get back over to Rick and talk about the radar, but we want to look at this scene again, Rick. This is 75 and Wilmoth Road in McKinney, and you can see how hard that rain is coming down.
Sheets of rain, yes, absolutely. That is wind-driven rain as well. Now, I think the strongest of the thunderstorms right now is Mother Nature's kind of showing the hand of the cards that she has. The strongest of those storms are going to be tracking into Dallas County. It's not that Tarrant County won't get anything. They will, but right now what's approaching them is not severe. The strongest thunderstorms are from eastern Denton County through about the northern half of Collin County and then up on into Grayson and Fannin counties. And then there's another batch that's west of Mineral Wells. Still lots of rain that extends all the way back to the northwest. You see these green areas on here. Those represent flash flood warnings. So there's some flooding that is taking place with these thunderstorms as well. But the most intense storms are approaching Honey Grove, Ladonia, Wolf City, coming on into Leonard, Bonham, Trenton, Whitewright, Ravenna. This tornado warning west of Whitewright in Grayson County has been canceled. So that tornado, that circulation has weakened, but a tornado warning remains in effect for Fannin County. And that's going to be for, let me step back here, even that circulation looks like it is much weaker than it was before. So folks in Bonham State Park, you're still going to have strong winds just because of the thunderstorm. So if you're in the warning, make sure that you are staying away from any west or northwest facing windows, because if there gets to be any flying debris, that's the debris that could be knocked into those windows and could break them. But this is a pretty stout line of thunderstorms capable of producing winds in excess of 70 miles per hour. Now, we've seen numerous 60, 65 mile per hour gusts, even as far back west as Denton. Denton's had a couple of wind gusts that have been over 60 miles per hour. This is moving south at about 45 to 50. So these storms are moving. They're not wasting any time, and they're especially heavy from Aubrey, Providence Village over through Little Elm, heavy rain around Denton, and then as you go on into Collin County, from Frisco and Prosper, it is kind of basically a car wash that's moving through. This is Frisco. You can see the rain coming down. We've got a crew that is stationary at this point, but lightning, thunder, gusty winds at times, and certainly that heavy rain that is coming down. So this is coming into McKinney, Princeton, and up through Blue Ridge and Farmersville, and then farther to the west on into Wise County. It's heavy rain, but nothing severe here. Nothing severe. Definitely heavy rain from Decatur down through Boyd and Rome. So this is what's headed into what will eventually go into Tarrant County, but just some moderate rain across Jack County. The thunderstorms that are moving through Collin County right now will move on into areas to the east, Hunt County. So Wolf City 1021, Wiley 1027, Greenville 1033, on into Cache at 1042, Quinlan at 1047, Terrell 1056, Sulphur Springs 1058. So these towns that I have named off, be prepared for winds over 60, perhaps over 70 miles per hour. May not last terribly long, but that initial surge is what you have to watch out for, and then followed by very heavy rain. The rain that is across farther west across Denton County, that will be into Plano 1025, DFW at 1034, Fort Worth 1036, and this is kind of the leading edge of the heavier rain. Dallas 1050, Terrell at 1101, Lancaster at 1106, and Waxahachie at 1118. But what's headed for Tarrant County, again, sub-severe. Doesn't pick up in intensity until you get west of Mineral Wells, and that's where it picks up. Brad, Breckenridge. Now, these thunderstorms, when they were first forming out west, produced over 80-mile-per-hour winds, and some of them produced as large as softball-sized hail. So thankfully, they have come down, but this one still is capable of producing some 60 to 65-mile-per-hour winds. Kevin, do you have some new information?
We have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning for Kaufman, Dallas, Tarrant, Rockwall, and Hunt counties until 11:30. That's due to some winds of 65 miles per hour and some penny-sized hail. Okay, 65. Thankfully, the hail has not been a huge problem, but this will be into Mineral Wells 1018, Gordon 1020, Rising Star 1030, Gorman at 1033. So this is the new warning that Kevin was talking about. It does include eastern sides of Tarrant County, right along 360 and points east. And that's for winds up to 65 miles per hour. So downtown Fort Worth, you guys might escape the strongest of these wind gusts unless we start to see something filling in back to the west. But those of you in the path of this, still be prepared for window rattling winds, and some communities may continue to sound their outdoor warning sirens based on the strong wind speeds associated with these thunderstorms. This is a bigger view showing the line is most intense north and northeast of DFW, then a lull picks up again back to the west. Also note that the thunderstorms continue. This is like a train of storms. They continue all the way back into northwest Texas, perhaps even the Texas Panhandle. So it's not as if this line goes through and then the night goes quiet. I think the severity of the thunderstorms will drop behind this, but with the initial line, again, wind gusts are possible in excess of 65 or 70 miles per hour. That's the greatest threat. Hail, we haven't seen a lot of it, thankfully. We saw it earlier when the storms were first developing, but now it's been more of a wind event. Tornado threat, we've had some warnings. One confirmed report of a tornado, I believe that was up in where was that? Was that Grayson County, Kevin, that we had the one? We had Grayson County, and then we had another one back up towards Fannin County.
Yes, well, absolutely. And some flash flooding is possible with this. And the greatest likelihood of the severe weather is basically now through about midnight in DFW, and then gradually the rain chances will decrease. But Katie, obviously a situation where folks need to stay weather aware. Some folks have already been in bed, awakened by outdoor warning sirens, wondering what's going on. It's the wind, so make sure you seek shelter, center of your house, lowest level, and kind of stay away from those windows.
All right, thank you, Rick. I want to show you some more pictures outside. Let's get to one of our crews again, Meredith Yeomans. We've been talking to her tonight. She's been on 380. Meredith, tell us where you're at now and what you're seeing. You see a lot of rain.
Hey, Katie. Yeah, we're still on 380, and it is a white knuckle kind of night out here. It's almost blinding rain. You can barely see the white lines in the middle of the street. So a lot of ponding on the side of the road, and to think that, you know, less than an hour ago these streets were dry. Now when we hit certain pockets of water on the side of the road, it's splashing up over our hood. A lot of the trees are going sideways, and when you look up at the lights, you can really just see these sheets of rain coming down sideways out here. There's hardly anybody out on the roads, and those that are going well under the speed limit. Here in our car, I'm glancing over, we're going 25 miles an hour right now on Highway 380. So think about that. We're on 380 just south of Providence Village heading east, and we're continuing to track this storm east. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Meredith. Looking at that shot, you just hear that rain coming down in the wind. You can see it. And we want to remind you, of course, as Rick has been saying, you know, the wind, the big threat with these storms, make sure you have our app, the NBC DFW app. I know a big concern tonight is that some folks could lose power. So if you lose power, you'll still have that app. You can get the very latest. You can watch Rick. You can look at the radar and, of course, get the instant weather updates that are sent right to your phone. All right, coming up, our coverage of the storms moving through North Texas continues as these strong winds have been reported, some up to 80-mile-per-hour gusts in some places. We'll check back in with our weather team here in just a few minutes.
Somebody planned this murder. Somebody wanted her out of the way.
She's representing some really hardened criminals. Maybe somebody had a beef with her.
It was personal.
Next Dateline. Tomorrow at 1 p.m.
My spot, mic drop. My spot, mic drop.
Unforgettable memories. That's my MO. What's your MO?
When it comes to choosing a personal injury attorney, results matter. Over the last 4 years, we've put over $1 billion in our clients' pockets. Our results speak for themselves. With offices across Texas and hundreds of attorneys available 24/7, we're here to fight for the money you deserve. The choice is clear. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust.
All right, welcome back. We're taking a live picture now. Our tower cams there in Denton. We've been seeing a lot of lightning. You see it there, a lot of rain coming down, and you see just intense lightning. Meredith Yeomans was there in Denton a few moments ago. She's now headed east toward McKinney, but just quite a lightning show. Let's show you now a look at Frisco. This is near Stonebriar Mall, so they're at State Highway 121 and Preston Road, where we saw this a little bit ago, but the rain really starting to come down now in Frisco. You see it there, more lightning. This is kind of what we're seeing as this storm approaches DFW, now is into Denton County and Collin County. Let's get over to Rick now for the latest on where these storms are headed. Rick.
Katie, just looking at a report here out of Fannin County, Dodge City had 80-mile-per-hour winds, so that's northeast of Dallas-Fort Worth. So I've been looking at, what this whole scenario was going to be for the last couple of days, looking at our computer information. And one thing it showed was a solid line of storms sweeping across North Texas. That has not been the case. It's tried to merge into a solid line. We basically have two areas of the most intense thunderstorms, and one is moving through Denton, but especially Collin County, northern sections of Hunt County, on through Grayson and Fannin counties right now. That's probably the most intense that we have. Denton has had a couple of gusts over 60 miles per hour. Then there's a big break, so it's not a solid line, and then it picks up again to our west in Palo Pinto County. That does not mean these are not impactful storms. They're producing a lot of rain. You got flash flood warnings up in Oklahoma. You got flash flood warnings back to the west, where they've been dealing with the thunderstorms for a longer period of time. And yes, we have seen numerous reports of winds over 60 miles per hour. But I'm thankful that we have this gap, because that's going to keep a lot of people from having to deal with power outages. But again, the strongest of these thunderstorms is from Denton on to the northeast. The heavy rain coming down in McKinney. It's approaching Plano and Wiley, Farmersville, Celeste, Greenville. You've got a little light rain coming down, but the heaviest is knocking on your door. These storms are moving to the southeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Leonard, heavy rain. Wolf City, Ladonia still have a tornado warning up here in Fannin County. The circulation is much weaker. Bottom line is it's buried in here. It's buried in all this rain. So if you're in eastern Fannin County, just go ahead and make sure you're taking your tornado precautions. Get into an interior room, a closet, a bathroom, a hallway, and just kind of stay away from windows and let all of this blow on through. Strongest winds still could be over 65 miles per hour with these thunderstorms. So Ladonia, Wolf City, and Celeste, again, they're going to be roaring across Hunt County as well. Leading edge, southern sides of Collin County and on into Denton County. Again, things are starting to wind down in Denton itself. They've had their heavy rain and the winds, but it's coming into northern sides of Tarrant County and northern sides of Dallas County. As we go west of Denton, the severe drops off. We don't have any warnings across Wise County or Jack County. Yeah, there's rain, there's some lightning and thunder, but nothing of the severe variety. So let's put some storm tracks on this. This would be for the areas from Collin County on into Hunt County. So Wolf City at 1020, Roxton 1029, Greenville at 1035, Cooper 1039, Cumbie 1047, Lone Oak at 1053, Sulphur Springs 1058, and Hagensport at 1106. All those towns have that potential for wind gusts in excess of 65 miles per hour. Then this portion of the line coming from Denton County and portions of Collin County. So that's going to affect Louisville at 1021, Keller 1031, DFW about 1035, Hurst 1043, Dallas 1048, Arlington 1055, Lancaster at 1108, and Mansfield at 1110. Now, the farther west you go, it seems like the storms become less severe, but still capable of maybe 60 mile per hour winds. Then there's a break over Parker County, and it picks up again western sides of Palo Pinto County. You can see this is a severe thunderstorm warning. Those winds could be 65 miles per hour moving southeast. So Mineral Wells 1032, Santo 1036, Peaster at 1039, Weatherford 1049, Morgan Mill 1051, Stephenville 1056, and Toller at 1104. Again, hail has not been a huge issue with this. It's mostly been these strong winds, and you can see the movement on it. Again, kind of two areas that are most intense, and that's from Denton on to the northeast, and that's mostly going to be affecting far northern and eastern sides of Tarrant County, and then also severe storms back to the west. So, Katie, some folks rocking and rolling right now. Others are just getting kind of a normal thunderstorm, a little mix of both out there at this point.
All right. Thank you, Rick. Hey, we want to show you this video from a viewer. This is a look, wow, as the storm, as it moved into Prosper, you hear those sirens going off. You were looking northwest from a neighborhood near the Dallas North Tollway and Frontier Parkway. As you can see, the viewer reported sideways rain, heavy wind, and a whole lot of lightning. Yeah. Wow. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
NBC 5 Sports is sponsored by your local Nissan dealers.
Since 1983, Nissan has been assembling award-winning vehicles for you, right here in America. And we're committed to keeping our lineup affordable and free from new tariffs. That's why we've lowered MSRP on our best-selling Rogue and Pathfinder. So you can get the car you want, at the price you want, knowing Nissan is here for you at the Nissan Summer Sales Event.
Now get 0% APR financing for 60 months on the 2025 Nissan Rogue or Pathfinder.
Need a reliable home service company? Baker Brothers covers all the bases. They do it all: plumbing, HVAC, and electrical. And they're fast. That's a home run.
Great service.
When it's going to be one of those DFW weather days,
I tell you what to expect with accurate forecasts.
when you need to know where the storm is and where it's headed next.
It is moving to the northeast.
I track its location with the most powerful television radar in Texas.
When the alarms sound.
Confirmed tornado on the ground.
Make sure you're taking shelter. Let this thing ride on through.
I put you at ease and guide you to safety.
When it happens in DFW, rely on Rick Mitchell, your North Texas weather expert, on NBC 5.
With Whataburger's new Bigger Better Bundles, you can upgrade your favorite Whata meal into 2 meals. You can add a kids' Whata meal for $4 and take it home to your little you. Or you can add a Double Meat Junior Whata meal for $5 and save it for later. For you. Or you can add a Whata Wings 9-piece for $6 and just enjoy that now. Yep, with Bigger Better Bundles, you can bring the kids along. Or give it to your Uncle Mo. Or stop by and surprise your coworkers. Upgrade your Whata meal with Bigger Better Bundles only at What a Burger.
At Walden University, we get the W.
We step up when everything is on the line.
We leave our mark on this world because we want to have impact.
And Walden University prepares us with the skills to make it happen. You can make it happen too.
Get the W.
Walden University. Set a course for change.
All eyes on you. You know what to do. Look out, you coming through. Who that is? Wow, you look good.
No matter your crew, Toyota has an SUV for you. Right now, qualified lessees can lease a new 2025 RAV4 LE for $319 a month for 36 months. Offer ends June 30th.
Baker Brothers can catch and fix any plumbing, AC, and electrical issue.
Baker Brothers has a gold glove just like me.
Really, Jimmy?
What? We're the best at catching and fixing problems.
Now that's a great service.
This summer, NBC5 wants you to read to stay smart. We'll recommend a book a week. Join us every Friday morning all summer long. NBC5, reading with you.
You're watching NBC5 News at 10.
All right, let's jump back into it. Just got a report of a 55-mile-per-hour wind gust at 75 in Spring Creek. So we've got basically two areas of severe thunderstorms. One, Denton County, about ready to move into eastern sides of Tarrant County and Dallas County. And then the other one, Palo Pinto and portions of Erath County under severe thunderstorm warnings. The thunderstorms themselves, non-severe, extend well back to the northwest. So I think we're going to have hours worth of rain, but the severe weather threat will continue to slide off to the east as these storms move southeast at around 50 miles per hour. The most vigorous storm we have is moving through Hunt County right now and portions of Collin County, northern Dallas County. That's where you're going to have wind gusts perhaps in excess of 60 miles per hour. Now note, when we first went on the air, we had some winds that were gusting potentially over 80 to near 90. We're not seeing that kind of verbiage in the warnings anymore. It's more 65 to maybe 70 miles per hour, which is still dangerous, all right? You still want to take, okay, 75 in Spring Creek. This is a live picture. We just reported a 55-mile-per-hour wind gust at 75 in Spring Creek. So you see a lot of cars with their flashers on. The wind is, the rain is moving sideways. That's the leading edge of that line of thunderstorms. So again, this is the strongest portion of it moving through Honeygrove, Ladonia, coming into Commerce and Greenville, extending down into Wiley. And this is where you're going to have that potential for some winds up above 60 miles per hour. Hail has not been a big threat. You might see maybe some nickel-size hail, but the wind is the most likely thing that you're going to see. And then the intensity does pick up as you head into southern sides of Collin County and Denton County. And that's going to clip portions of northern Tarrant County. This severe part, all of Tarrant County is going to get rain, but the strongest winds are going to be basically from South Lake on to the east. But we do see some additional development, taking shape western sides of Denton County, and that may make its way into northern sides of Tarrant County. Okay, so this is in Argyle, up in Denton County, where the rain is coming down pretty good. A fair amount of lightning with it. You got people with the flashers on. I suppose if you can move, you're doing all right. As Meredith Yeoman said, they were moving about 25 miles per hour, so it's not a lot of speed up there. So here we are, Denton. We cross over into Wise County, non-severe, back into Jack County, non-severe, go a little farther south, Palo Pinto, that's where it picks up again. So storm track this. This is the leading edge of probably the strongest portion of the thunderstorms. Wiley, 1028, Greenville, 1035. I mean, it's knocking on the door in Greenville. I mean, it's 2 minutes away. Cooper, 1041, Cumbie at 1047, Quinlan, 1052, Sulphur Springs, right up at 11, Lake Tawakoni State Park, 1103, and Emory at 1110. And those locations have that potential for winds around 60. Let's see what's going to happen with these storms as they move through Dallas and portions of Tarrant County into Dallas at 1044. Now, some of you are getting some rain right now. I'm tracking the heaviest of the rain and perhaps the strongest wind speeds. All right, so that'll be arriving in Dallas, 1044, Mesquite, 1050, Terrell, 1059, Lancaster at 11:03, Kaufman 11:12, Palmer 11:21, and Waxahachie at 11:28. Once you get west of that area, then the things settle down a little bit, again, across Parker County. And then it picks up in Palo Pinto County, heavier thunderstorms, severe thunderstorm warning in effect, Grayford, Mineral Wells, Gordon, and Ranger. Excuse me. And that's going to be some heavy rain and probably some wind gusts up around 60 miles per hour. So we'll track that. That'll be into Lipan, 1046, Morgan Mill, 1048, Stephenville by 1056, Crescent, 1110, Glen Rose, 1120, Fort Worth, 1123, and Cleburne, 1132. So this is moving in a direction that may, take it across portions, southern sides of Tarrant County. But it's kind of nice to have this break in the line. It's not a solid squall line that's just, scouring the earth with really strong winds. There are pockets of strong winds in there, and we've seen that through the evening. But I think overall the wind speeds may have diminished just a little bit. Instead of 80 and 90 mile per hour winds, we're talking more along the lines of 60 to 65 mile per hour winds and a good deal of rain. I think some folks are going to get well more than an inch. The big view, which I extended out, I mean, look at this, rain extends all the way out to almost Childress. So again, this is not going to be just a fast end, but the leading edge, that's where the greatest threat for severe weather will be, and that's going to be moving in to areas east of DFW, and conditions are still favorable for these storms to pulse up and produce winds in excess of 70 miles per hour. So if you're east of Dallas-Fort Worth, if you're out, towards Canton and Athens, Palestine, make sure you are aware, you're thinking about going to bed, make sure you have a way of getting warnings as these storms move in your direction. There is a severe thunderstorm watch that covers all of North Texas until 4 a.m. Once that leading edge passes your location, like it's doing in Denton, Decatur, the threat will diminish quite a bit back to the west, across the western sides of this watch. But Katie, it's still active, and a lot of folks still need to make sure that as these storms approach and move into their area, that they're staying away from their windows and just kind of letting this thing move on through.
Yeah, smart advice there. All right, thank you, Rick. Let's go back to some of our TxDOT cameras because these really tell the story of this storm and what we're seeing tonight. Right now, we are taking a live look. This is 75 and Gallatin Parkway there in Richardson, kind of what we've been seeing for the last 40 minutes or so. You can see people have their hazard lights on. They're taking it slow. You see a lot of rain coming down there covering the road. All right, we want to go back to our Meredith Yeoman. She has been out and about on 380 this evening. Meredith, we keep coming back to you because you really were going through the worst of the storm. So tell us where you're at now and how things are going.
So we are on Highway 380 still, and we have just sort of crossed right at the Denton-Collin County line. We're coming up into Frisco, Prosper area, and we're almost at the Dallas North Tollway, and just looking ahead at our maps, we can see that it is yellow pretty much from 380 all the way down to 121, and it looks like 121 going east and west is a mess too. So we are going to go and check this out. We did see coincidentally a fire truck pull in front of us and head east, so we don't know if it's flooding that's got things backed up here or if there's an accident, but either way, from our last check-in, the rain seems to be getting a little bit lighter. It's not blinding at this point, though it is coming down. It's just a strong rain at this point, a heavy rain. It's not blinding. We can still see sheets of it going sideways in front of the lights. It's that sort of cascading effect happening. And there's a lot of ponding on the edges of the road. At points, it's sort of splashes up over the hood of our car, but it's manageable at this point. We're still going 35 miles an hour, and as you can see, there's still people zooming past us. So I see the sign right there. We're entering Collin County at this point. We'll check in with you here in a little bit and let you know what we find along the Dallas North Tollway in Frisco.
All right. Thank you, Meredith. Stay safe. Let's look at some other images from across North Texas tonight. You're taking a live look. This is in Frisco. This is near the Stonebriar Mall. Lots of lightning, as you can see, and just a ton of heavy rain coming down. We also want to show you another look there in Frisco. I believe we have a shot from, Toyota Stadium, where you can see just that lightning show that is playing out. We are getting reports of power outages that are starting to come in from across parts of our northern counties. Nearly 16,000 are without power in Grayson County, 6,500 without it in Fannin County, almost 3,000 without it in Cook County. We'll continue to track those numbers, of course, as this storm moves south. We'll let you know what we're seeing here in DFW. All right, now let's take a live look at DFW and Love Field airports. Delays have been reported on and off throughout the evening because of the severe storms. The delay right now is about 30 minutes for DFW as we take a live look at those two shots. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
It's local. It's live. And now it's longer. More local stories, more updates, more time for what matters to you on your favorite streaming platforms.
Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m.
Streaming everywhere on your favorite platforms.
Boom! So much for you.
Sounds like someone's got the munchies.
Is it too much to ask for you to play a little bit better?
Wouldn't make much difference with your aim.
Hard to miss your big head.
Okay. Hey, we said no head jokes. Build your own munchie meal.
Or get mine.
Welcome to Jock in the Box.
So 1, 2, 3, take my hand and come with me because you look so fine that I really want to make you mine. Be my girl. Are you gonna be my girl?
Welcome to the most honest commercial you've ever seen. Not the cleanest, just the most honest.
Today, we're fixing a home's foundation.
I mean, that is like the most common thing to see in the world.
Pretty common, yeah.
Right.
So it's the soil that's eroding away, causing those cavities, those voids that the foundation then wants to settle into.
And then you guys with your superhero capes show up and fix everything.
Yes, sir.
Foundation Support Specialist is now Groundworks. Book your free inspection today.
I was in foot pain for 20 years. I bought all these products, and not a single one worked. When I drove past the Good Feet store, I thought, I'm gonna stop in. What can it hurt? They wanted to make sure that they gave me the right arch support for my feet, not somebody else's feet. And you just knew, like your feet just, when they got on the right ones, they were like, oh yeah. I'm Teresa, and that's my Good Feet story.
See for yourself with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me.
The Lord is my shepherd.
David, live on stage in Branson, Missouri.
My spot, mic drop. My spot, mic drop.
You know I'm never afraid to lay it on thick. Like with my 100% beef patty melt with 2 melty cheeses and grilled onions all on my famous toasted sourdough. It's beefy, it's melty, and it's back. Starting at $4.99. Get so much more.
Welcome to Jock in the Box.
We are watching these storms as they push through North Texas. This is a live look again in Frisco. This is near Stonebriar Mall, where the rain is really coming down and the lightning is putting on a show. We also want to show you what things are looking like in Dallas. This is at the High 5 there at the interchange of 75 and 635. You can see the rain now coming down in Dallas. The cars taking it slow there on the interstate. All right, let's get over to Rick now for the very latest on where this all is and when we're going to be, done with all of this. us, Rick. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the severe thunderstorm watch goes until 4 a.m. However, the severe weather threat is not going to last that long in DFW. One thing I want to point out to you here, we have got a flash flood warning now issued for parts of Denton County, including the city of Denton and pretty much all of Collin County. So most of Denton and Collin counties under a flash flood warning, given the heavy rain that's moved through. Some areas have already picked up a couple inches of rain, and areas of poor drainage are certainly going to have some flooding issues. The leading edge of this rain, this is the kind of the main edge coming into Paris, but you'll notice some heavy rain extends all the way down from Paris to Mount Pleasant. So it's not as if this is just one line. You've got other thunderstorms moving through, but this line is where the likelihood of some strong winds is continuing. Winds gusting over 60 miles per hour along the leading edge. Cooper coming into Cumbie. Greenville, you're in the mix right now with heavy thunderstorms, lightning, thunder, some gusty winds. And then as we go farther to the west, this thunderstorm complex is moving into Garland, Richardson, Carrollton, almost as far south as Irving, Capel, South Lake, Keller. This rain around the Keller area has picked up south of Roanoke and then even in portions of Parker County. So every thunderstorm that is technically severe right now has the wind potential of over 60 miles per hour. New severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Parker County. Not much going on right now, but man, you got a severe cell that is here in Palo Pinto County. And instead of moving southeast, it's now shifted more. It's moving more east, and that's why we have that warning for Parker County. Winds could go as high as 60 miles per hour. Back to the storm around Cooper and Cumbie. It'll be into Quinlan 1051, Sulphur Springs 1057, Lake Tawakoni State Park in about 16 minutes, 11:01. Emory 11:06, Wills Point 11:14, Mount Vernon at 11:19. And then the leading edge of the storms coming into DFW, Hearst 10:54, Dallas 10:58, Arlington 11:04, Duncan 11:10, Kaufman 11:17, Ferris 11:22. So as this crosses through Dallas County, it's very possible we could have wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. No need to panic. Just make sure you're staying away from windows. Hopefully you've picked up any loose items outside, because those things will blow around as these winds come on in. Tarrant County, you've got the heavier rain. Again, you've got these heavier thunderstorms coming in from Palo Pinto County into Parker County. So Morgan Mill 1050, Weatherford right around 11 o'clock, Granbury 11:11, Glen Rose 11:25. Back into the Fort Worth area, 11:31, Cleburne 11:42, and Mansfield at 11:49. So big, messy radar site. There are breaks in this line, but they're kind of filling in, and there's very heavy rain. Again, some flash flood warnings taking place. So this line of thunderstorms will move deeper into East Texas. And those of you that have yet to see storms that are watching me to the east, Kaufman County, out through portion Van Zandt, all those areas to the east of us, be aware these can still be significant wind producers. Behind that initial line where it's still raining, the severe threat will decrease. It'll be more of a flooding threat. As I mentioned, we're under a severe thunderstorm watch for all of North Texas until 4 a.m. But gradually, over time, the greatest severe weather threat will shift east with that leading edge. So that leads us up to what's going to happen this week. With more on that, here's Kevin Smith. Kevin?
Well, guess what, Rick and everyone? When you wake up on your Monday morning, rain chances still at around 30%, picking up to 40% as we move into the afternoon and also around 4 p.m. Always keep an eye to the sky and stay weather aware. But later in the evening, the rain chances will go down to around 20% as we travel toward 10 p.m. Now, let's get to those overnight low temperatures into the 60s and 70s. We'll see those afternoon highs, unlike the mid-90s we saw today, only into the upper 70s into the lower to the mid-80s. And those rain chances will continue, Katie and everyone, for your 2 Tuesday at 40%, 50% for Wednesday and Thursday. Let me say it will not be a total washout. 40% into your Friday, and then down to 20% as we travel toward next Saturday. And those rainfall totals, when it's all said and done, added up to a possibility of 2, 3, 4 inches of rainfall. So here we go with that 5 to 10 day forecast. Those highs holding into the 80s with those rain chances at 40% as we travel into your Monday and Tuesday, 50% for Wednesday and Thursday, 40% into Friday, down to 20% into Saturday. And then those temperatures will start to peak up into the lower 90s by the end of that forecast. And that means it feels like temperatures back into the upper 90s, approaching the triple digits. And of course, those overnight lows will climb from the lower 70s into the mid 70s because those winds will start to change around to the south at 10 to 15 miles per hour with some higher gusts. But once again, Katie, everyone this evening stay weather aware with those showers and storms moving in from the northwest to the east southeast at around 45 to 50 miles per hour. Over to you.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. We want to check back in with our Meredith Yeomans, who has been out and about all night in Denton County and Collin County. So, Meredith, where are you at now?
So we are on the Dallas North Tollway heading south in Frisco. We're just getting ready to pass over Main Street. So the Toyota Stadium will be off to our left. And there is just a lot of water on the road. We just got on the tollway from the frontage roads, and there is just a lot of ponding on the sides of the road. It was almost like running a gauntlet through the frontage roads. You had the barrels that had floated off from construction in the middle of the road. You had gates that had swung open from some pastures on the side of the road. So it might be a little dicey on the morning drive if some of this hasn't been tidied up by then. So just know that heading into the night, and maybe plan some extra time in the morning. But as for conditions at the moment, the rain, it's getting a little bit lighter. We were in the thick of it, blinding white knuckle driving type of rain back in Denton County. It is getting a little bit lighter. There is still a lot of it falling, and the lightning show, it seems to be the main act at this point. We're not hearing a lot of loud claps of thunder after we see the lightning. So, you know, the center of the storm may not be near us, but we are still, Mother Nature showing off still for us here up in Frisco on the Dallas North Tollway heading southbound toward 121.
All right, Meredith, thank you. We want to let you know that power outages are increasing as we take a live look here. Wow, this is the tower cam at the High 5, and you see it shaking because of these strong winds that are now arriving in the heart of Dallas. But again, this is the High 5 there at 75 and 635. Wow. All right, with the power outage, we know there are just over 20,000 without power in North Texas. Collin County is reporting that 4,000 people there are without power. In Dallas County, we're hearing 6,000 are without power. Let's get back to our Sophia Beausoleil. She is out this evening. Sophia, where are you and what are you seeing?
She is out this evening. Sophia, where are you and what are you seeing?
Hey, Katie, if you can hear me, can you hear me? So we are in Northwest Dallas. All right, great. We are in Northwest Dallas where the rain is coming down pretty good. It's kind of hard to see in the distance, but the trees are swaying back and forth. The rain is at a slant. And, you know, sometimes you have to look up at the street lights in order to get a better idea of just how the rain is flowing, but it's definitely coming down. I stood outside for a minute to do a little Instagram video, and I'm wearing a jacket with the hood on, and my hood is being blown off. I'm originally from the Houston area and have covered, you know, hurricanes here and there, and this is reminding me of those days. Not that it's that bad as of right now, but we're definitely seeing the wind pick up. We are actually sheltered in a good place in a garage as we observe the elements around us, but it is definitely coming down. That was just a rumble of thunder, if you could hear that in the background on the microphone. But we'll be keeping an eye on this as we watch the rain really pour down here. And sorry, Katie, I'm out of breath. I was outside taking video, and ooh, that was a big strike of lightning right there. Ooh, can you hear that, Katie?
Yeah, we can hear it. I'm glad you're inside.
Yep, that's why we're in a garage with a cover over us to protect ourselves from the elements. while we want to cover this and let you all know what's happening at home, we also want to be safe too. So we'll keep an eye on this and watch the radar as the storm rolls through. Katie, back to you.
Yeah, stay in that garage. Stay safe. All right, Sophia, thank you. Let's get back over to Rick now for the very latest on all of this. We saw those images from the high five. The camera really shaking.
Yeah, there's still some winds, and you know, the wind is still with the strongest storms capable of 65 at times, maybe even 70 miles per hour. So these are still intense thunderstorms capable of those strong winds. This is the high five, and just, you know, this is like driving your car through a car wash, only there's lightning inside of it. I mean, that wind is driving that rain across the roads. I'm not even sure what I'm looking at. I'm assuming these are headlights.
Yes.
But you wouldn't want to be, you know, up on that tower cam at this point, because the winds are rocking and rolling. So we've got the meat of these thunderstorms moving through DFW right now. The strongest of the thunderstorms. You got some as far east as Mount Pleasant, and it's up to Paris, and then extending on into North Dallas, parts of Tarrant County. Another batch moving from Palo Pinto County into Parker County, and most of those are severe. Got a couple of flash flood warnings that are in effect for much of Denton and really all of Collin counties. And it wouldn't surprise me if we end up seeing more flash flood warnings, because there's just a lot of water out there. But the leading edge of the really heavy stuff, yeah, you've got heavy downpours and a severe storm around Mount Pleasant, Mount Vernon. But the leading edge of this particular line is coming into Sulphur Springs. It has the rain has lightened up in Wolf City, Trenton, Anna, Gunner, Howe, Bonham. Still raining heavily in Greenville. The leading edge producing very heavy rain. Quinlan, just north of Terrell, coming through Garland. Rockwall County getting some very heavy rain as well. So this is where you're going to have some wind gusts, perhaps upwards of 65 miles per hour. Kevin, yes.
By the way, that storm now into Delta and Hopkins County is now producing winds up to 80 miles per hour. Okay,
so the areas to the east, east of Sulphur Springs here, Hopkins and Delta, Sulphur Springs, be ready, perhaps as high as 80 mile per hour winds. Northern sides of Dallas County, from Garland just to the north of Mesquite, the heaviest rain affecting SMU, approaching downtown Dallas, over through Irving. DFW Airport getting a good cleanse with this very heavy rain. Capel, Southlake, Colleyville, Hurst, Keller, Haltom City, on into Fort Worth. A little less wind potential once you get west of Colleyville. There is no warning there, but all these areas from far northeastern sides of Tarrant County onto the east have the potential for at least 60 mile per hour winds. Weatherford and Parker County, you guys are under a severe thunderstorm warning from this cluster of storms as moved through Mineral Wells. Could see 60 to 65 mile per hour winds with those as they move to the east-southeast. All right, so again, as Kevin mentioned, this cluster moving through Hopkins County could have 80 mile per hour winds. So Sulphur Springs 1056, Como 1107, Emory at 1109, Wills Point 1117, Winnsboro 1123, Quitman 1129, and Mount Pleasant at 1138 as the storms move southeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. As they cross Dallas County, Rockwall County, Kaufman County, Arlington 1059, Terrell 1103 into Kaufman at 1113, Midlothian 1119, Palmer 1124, Waxahachie 1127, and Ennis at 1133. And these will have the potential for strong wind gusts. You've got this other severe storm coming in from Palo Pinto County. That would be Stephenville 1104, Crescent 1114, Benbrook 1124, Fort Worth 1132. Cleburne 1136, Mansfield 1147, and Blum at 1154. Other thunderstorms back towards Cisco. And the big view shows that once the leading edge is through, while the severity of the storms may come down, still have heavy rain. So, Katie, we're going to have to watch out for potential for flash flooding deep into the nighttime hours.
All right. Thank you, Rick. And we're starting to hear of more power outages across North Texas. Make sure you keep it right here. You can download the NBC5 app and stay ahead of the storm, where you can watch radar live and get instant weather updates that are sent straight to your phone. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with Rick after this.
spot, mic drop. My spot, mic drop.
My name is Nolan Norris. I'm a defender. I wear the number 32. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. So growing up, I played soccer and baseball. Soccer is my first love. It's the game I've grown up playing, and soccer is just what I love to do. My dream was always to become a professional. So once I was 11, 12 years old, I wanted to make the jump to the FC Dallas Academy. There's a long list of players that have gone from academy to pro, and after a couple months of tryouts, I made the team, and that's where it began. That's where I've been ever since. I'm just enjoying every single day. I think I'm a technical player. I have a good passing range, a good anticipation. I've got a good soccer brain. I'm aggressive. I give everything I have for my team, and I think I show that on the field. Anytime you compete, you should want to win, and that's how I live on and off the field. I think professional sports, you're in the business of winning, and that's what we're here for. The goal is to win games and eventually win trophies. We have a really good team culture. Coach Quill and his staff have come in and instilled belief, a different type of work ethic, and just a mentality. You gotta want it more than the other team, as simple as it sounds. To all the fans, we're working as hard as we can to win games. I think that's our job, and our job is also to inspire the next generation. Every time we go on the field, we're gonna give everything we have, on and off the ball. I would say the game of soccer is a beautiful game. It's sophistication.
We continue to follow these strong storms that are pushing their way through North Texas. This is a live look near DFW Airport, not too far from our studios here at NBC 5. That's the Texas Thunder Truck. It is out and about, showing you just that heavy rain that is coming down right here. Let's also show you another view. One of our crews out on the roads. They're near 121 and 35 in Carrollton. You see the rain coming down there as well, and the lightning there in the distance. Just so much lightning with these storms tonight. Let's get back over to Rick now to see where these storms are at this moment.
Now, Katie, one thing, I probably 15 minutes ago, I said, well, you know, we haven't seen warnings that have been mentioning 80-mile-per-hour winds, and that jinxed it. Now we've got 80-mile-per-hour winds possible in portions of Hopkins County as well as Parker County. And the storms in Parker County will be approaching Tarrant County. So 80-mile-per-hour gusts. So these are still very vigorous thunderstorms, and pretty much everyone under a severe thunderstorm warning for winds at least 65. The high end has been 80 miles per hour. So that's what's going on. Lots of storms. The kind of the thickest part of the thunderstorms are moving in right now. You can see new warnings are being extended all the way out to Tyler and Longview. So that's giving those folks a good heads up on the severe storms that are moving through. So here we are, Sulphur Springs, the leading edge of this. The warning here in Hopkins County does call for winds as high as 80 miles per hour. So make sure that you're away from windows. Almost treat it like a tornado warning, where you would take shelter in an interior room, get as low as you can, kind of protect yourself. Just let that thing, you know, roar on through, and make sure you're staying safe away from those windows. But up to 80-mile-per-hour winds with the leading edge of that. But it's coming through Sulphur Springs. It'll be headed towards Mount Vernon, Winsboro, Quitman. The leading edge then extends back to the southwest, close to Emory, coming on into Terrell. All of Rockwall County getting very heavy rain right now, and that extends into northern sides of Dallas County. The rain almost down to Mesquite, downtown Dallas, SMU area getting very heavy rain. Irving, DFW over through Six Flags, Arlington, Duncanville, Cedar Hill. And this is kind of like new development ahead of the line that's kind of pushing to the south. Much of Tarrant County receiving very heavy rain right now, especially the eastern sides, just to the east of 35W. Haltom City, Hearst, Colleyville, DFW, and again, farther to the west, things lighten up just a bit. Western sides of Tarrant County, some downpours out there, but there's pockets where it's not doing much of anything. But this thunderstorm cell coming through Parker County, again, is another one of these cells that has the potential for 80-mile-per-hour winds. So you don't want to mess around with those. Just get away from the windows, get to an interior section of your house, and really protect yourself and your family. Again, it's not a tornado warning, but strong winds, kind of treat it like a tornado warning. Make sure that you're prepared and you are dressed and you get shoes on, okay? That should be a minimum. Just make sure you're dressed and have your shoes on and let these storms roar on through. My concern is that this storm was moving southeast. It's a little more in an easterly direction, so I do believe it will have an impact on Tarrant County down the road. But those of you in Weatherford, be ready. You've got pretty strong winds coming into your area. Time of arrival, Sulphur Springs here about, well, it's 10:58, so it's already there. Como 11:09, Emory 11:11, Wills Point 11:20, Winnsboro at 11:25, Quitman 11:31, Mount Pleasant 11:39, and Cookeville at 11:47. Winds 75, 80 miles per hour. Farther to the west, affecting the Dallas and Fort Worth areas, Arlington 11:04, which is pretty much right now, Terrell 11:07, Lancaster 11:15, Kaufman 11:18, Midlothian 11:25, Waxahachie 11:33, Ennis 11:39, Gun Barrel City 11:41. As I'm reading all these times off, take them with a grain of salt because things can develop out ahead of the main line and you could end up seeing a thunderstorm much sooner. This is just should give you a guide as to when it's likely that we'll see some of these thunderstorms coming in. And again, we're watching this severe storm moving through Parker County, Weatherford down to Tin Top, severe thunderstorm warning, potential for 80-mile-per-hour winds with that cell as it's moving off to the east and southeast. So that would be Granbury 11:09, Azle 11:17, Fort Worth 11:33, Cleburne 11:38, Mansfield 11:48, Blum 11:57, and Itasca at 12:07. So boy, there's a lot going on. Also heavier pockets of rain near Granbury, Morgan Mill, Stephenville, extending back towards Cisco, Baird. Even, you still have severe storms ongoing as far west as Abilene. Okay, so this is all that leading edge of these thunderstorms that's gradually moving off to the southeast. Now, those of you deep into East Texas, this is still coming in your direction. You still have conditions that are very favorable for these storms to hold together. There is no computer model that I looked at that said, oh, these storms are going to die out by midnight or 1 a.m. No, I think these are going to go all the way across all of the NBC5 viewing area, and they will continue to have strong wind potential. So look forward, or maybe not look forward to severe storms, but just be aware that severe storms are likely. And even some of these behind the main line, closer to I-20, are still severe, and then still pockets of very heavy rain. This probably is going to continue to make its way to the southeast across North Texas. So flash flood potential is there. We've got a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 4 a.m. that covers all of North Texas. The watch that was out to the west, that expired as of 6 minutes ago, so no longer a watch in effect for those areas. So the severe weather threat, what we're looking at most likely are strong wind gusts, 60, 70, occasionally 80-mile-per-hour winds. Not every single person is going to get that. A lot of times these thunderstorms, they kind of funnel the winds into like alleys, all right? And they're not huge swaths of wind, but smaller pockets or alleyways that the winds can gust up very high. But that's the main threat. Quarter-size hail, that's possible. Tornado threat has been low. We've had a couple of warnings, but I think one confirmed tornado, and that's about it. Flash flooding probably should be a little higher. I think as we go through the night, we're going to see more of that moving forward. But again, very active radar, lots of rain, lots of wind. And Kevin, do you have an update? You're good?
Yes, we've had some reports of some damage, wind damage in Mineral Wells. That's that line that's currently moving into Parker County.
Yeah, 80 mile per hour
winds. Yes, for folks in the Weatherford. So hopefully they're in a safe place right now. And as the storm continues to move toward the east at around 40 miles per hour, 40, 45 miles per hour. Like I say, Tarrant County, this storm is moving your way.
And could have an impact down the road. Yeah. Katie?
All right, thank you, Rick. Let's take another look at what we're seeing outside. This is a live look from one of the other TxDOT cameras. This is in Fort Worth at 35 and Alta Mesa, where you can see people are taking it slow. The rain's coming down. I think we saw an emergency vehicle speeding past there. Again, this is in Fort Worth at 35 and Alta Mesa. And let's look at this picture. It just went out, but this is in Where is this at? Oh, this is the viewer video here. This was at Beltline in 75 a little bit ago. You can see that lightning and the rain coming down. We want to remind you, we appreciate everyone sending in their pictures and their videos, but only do it if you can safely do it. If you do have video from tonight's storms that you want to share, you can send it to us at ic@nbcdfw.com. Again, that's at Beltline in 75 earlier. Now let's go back to Sophia Beausoleil in Dallas, where Sophia, I know you've been staying inside underneath the garage. What have you been seeing right now?
Well, now we can actually see the buildings in front of us. It looks like this has calmed down a little bit. Literally, Katie, in the last 5 seconds to when you just tossed to me for this live shot, the rain was, super intense. I went outside and it did resemble hurricane force-like conditions. Not that it was. I don't know what the actual metrics say, but I'm just telling you what my body was feeling as I was standing out there getting pelted in the face with rain. We are in a garage staying safe from the elements, but you could see the rain swirling around in the parking lot. It was going off the sides of the parking lot, so you could see the rain just intensify for the last 30 minutes almost, and the wind in the background with the trees, which was the best indicator of just how intense it was. But at this point, it's starting to taper off just a little bit, and like I said, we can now actually see across the way here in northwest Dallas. Across from us is where 635 is. We're kind of right near White Rock Creek off of Park Central, so it's that area. And so, yeah, as of right now, it's calming down for now. But moments ago, it was very intense, and I'm sure we will see some down limbs and so forth as we drive around later on to get a better idea if there was any damage from this storm that rolled through.
All right, Sophia, thank you. Let's get back to this camera shot here. Wow, you can see this is in Bishop Arts in Dallas. This is near Beckley and Colorado. You see the rain just moving across the road, being carried by the winds. Not a lot of people out tonight, thankfully, as these storms are coming through. But if you do have to be out, be careful. As you can see, there's a lot of ponding on the roads.